Hello everyone, here we are again. I think today I'm going to talk a little bit about the acting process before we get started with the chapter. By the way, the chapter we're on chapter 7, the Royal Theatre. The acting process is very interesting. Let me preface all of this with I was acting in Japan, as I was talking about last week, and we did a performance in an old rickety building. And this rickety building was it looked like it might fall down at any minute. But anyway, we were performing the play Fiddler on the Roof, and we had quite a large audience. And I noticed there was this young girl sitting in the front row, and it looked like she was scared to death. She had she was hard of hearing, had these hearing phones on, and just was having just her face was just her eyes were just huge, watching the play. During the course of the play, I make a lot of noise. I'm quite loud and put a lot of emotion into it. And I myself felt the building shaking just a little bit. Not dangerously so, but it was shaking. At the end of the play, the little girl came up on the stage, and she just stood there watching me. Of course, I have huge boots that make me about 3 or 4 inches taller, make me about 6'7" or something like that, and a big costume. And so I was pretty big to her. So she just looked up at me and with her big eyes and just stared. And I said hi to her, and her mother came up to me. And she said, "Well, we want to thank you because this is the first time my daughter has ever heard." What she did is she put her hands on the seat, and the seat had different vibrations, and she felt these different vibrations, and she was just so excited. So her mother was crying, she was crying, I was crying, and mainly what acting is what acting has been for me, and it should be for most people, is we want to try to change people. We want to try to affect them in one way or another for the better. And throughout the years that I've been a professional actor, that has been my goal, not just to make money, but to be able to cause a change in an audience. And you can tell when you're on stage and you're acting, you can tell if that audience is with you, especially when we're doing a play like Fiddler on the Roof, where it requires a lot of comedy and also there's some seriousness where you want people to cry. And you can feel that. You can feel if they're with you or not. For example, I was performing up in the division between North and South Korea, as the DMZ is called. And we were performing, and there were some drunk guys. Well, they were drunk, and we were in the officers' club, and they were just having a good time. And they were whistling at the girls and things like that. But I had to find a way to get them back into the play. They weren't really watching and listening to the play. So there's one scene at a bar in the play, and so what I did is I went out and sat with them and did some of my lines. And I had my cup of water, and they had their whatever beers and things like that. And so we kind of drank together. I had my water and them their beers, and we got them with us. So you need to find a way to get your audience to work with you. And so we were able to do that at that DMZ, where it's very volatile there. The North and South Koreans are shooting back and forth each night. Matter of fact, we performed a performance there, and during the performance we heard gunfire, mortar fire, and the lights were flickering, and we were scared to death. We thought we were dead, but very few people left. We were wondering, that was kind of odd that they wouldn't leave if there was gunfire. So we finished the play even though we were scared to death, thinking we'd be killed at any minute. And then afterwards, the commandant of the place there came up to me and said he enjoyed the play. And I said, "Well, what was happening out there? Are people dying? Or people being shot?" And he said, "Oh, don't worry about that. That happens every night. The North and South Koreans, they shoot back and forth, and not necessarily anyone is killed. And so sometimes you act in the weirdest places, and that's where we were, with the gunfire and these military people. They were the toughest of the tough, having to stand there and guard the DMZ, guard the division between North and South Korea, and but they still let down, and enjoyed the play that we showed to them. Okay, we're jumping into chapter 7, like I said, the Royal Theatre. The Renaissance exploded upon the Western world in a tumult of upheaval and exaltation, carrying with it an extravagance of feeling and a burst of creative energy. It was to be followed by a period of consolidation, refinement, and the imposition of rational sensibility and order. Historians today call this maturation period the Enlightenment, a time during the 18th century when the fires of the Renaissance were banked and channeled into a general social and philosophical illumination. The Enlightenment became an age of intellectual classifications and structures. It brought forth the physical laws of Isaac Newton, the political and social analysis of the Baron de Montesquieu, the rational philosophies of René Descartes, John Locke, Immanuel Kant, David Hume, and the comprehensive encyclopedias of Denis Diderot. It was an age that saw the establishment of great scientific and literary academics that worked to regularize wisdom and codify knowledge. It was also the age of polities and social decorum, of powdered wigs, gilded snuff boxes, fine laces, and carved walking sticks. Elegance was the order of the day in that era, governed by aristocratic tastes and the complex niceties inherent in an emerging code of precisely modulated social behavior. So here we go again, and I hope you enjoy this week. Hope you enjoy the chapter, and be sure to do your assignments.